Hey, what's up guys? Today I wanted to make a video that will hopefully help somebody out there that wants to do what I did, and that is taking some of your old DS games and your Game Boy Advance games and basically making new cover art, like insert art for it, and just, you know, a better way to store your games. And if you're like me, you like to go to like used game stores and whatever to find old games, because you know these days we're all getting back into old games, and I know like older games really are just, you know, what I like to play, and it's just they hold a more special place in my heart anyways. But enough rambling, and hopefully this video will help somebody, and I'll show you what you're gonna need. Now there's other options out there, but I ordered a case of 20 of these DS game boxes for my project, and I'll show you this. You need to make sure you get the one, if this is the route you want to go. These are official Nintendo ones I found on eBay, but just get the one that will actually hold the Game Boy Advance games, and we won't click it in there just yet. But let's move this stuff to the side. I just wanted to show you. These are the DS ones that hold DS games and Game Boy Advance games. So that's the boxes that I opted to get. Now there's other websites out there that already do all the work for you, but if you're like me, you kind of want to, you know, spend the time and have some fun, do a little crafting, and make your own. I think mine turned out okay. I just you may have to go to a couple of shops to get somebody to print these for you. Now myself, I went to FedEx, and I was going to do it myself. You just get yourself a jump drive and, you know, download these files. I think the website is thecoverproject.net, and you can find a lot of covers and inserts, whatever you call these, and they're pretty good scans. I didn't really, to be honest with you, didn't know what paper to use. So when I went to FedEx, I asked like what was the best, because I was told to use like what's it called, like the legal documents. I was told to use those, but I don't know if you really need the legal size or not. But long story short, I asked for legal size, the best paper they had in the legal size paper, and you'll see here in just a second. I've got some prints over here I was going to bring out and show you, if I can find. One second. Well, here, let's bring this over. This is for Cave Story, and this is a 3DS, obviously. And what the lady did for me is she actually printed out one of these for me, the Code of Princess. She printed on like regular standard paper, and that's the one I did end up cutting out, and it actually fits perfect. So I guess with the legal paper, you're going to get like a double margin, which it doesn't really matter, because it's going to leave, like, you're going to end up cutting this out anyway. And like I said, this one was on standard paper, and all these, you can tell the big margin, but still you're going to be cutting right on the line. Which brings me to another point. You know, once you do cut these out, you're going to notice that there's like a little gap right here, but you can see those little tabs, and I'm thinking that's just where the plastic has to go down in there. This, you know, this plastic cover. And at first I was kind of worried about that. You know, take a look at it, my Iridian 3D. See that big gap? It's kind of like, man, I cut it too short, or the files weren't sized right or something. But you know, you do notice it. But if you want to, you know, take a look, this is an original game, and you can see clearly that the gap is there on original games too for the DS. So don't worry about those gaps. If you want to resize it, you can, but I don't think you can. I mean, maybe in the front I think you can push it over a little bit, but in the back for some reason it won't really go past that point anyway. So all right guys, enough rambling. Let's I thought I would do one on video if I don't run out of memory on my phone here. So what I ended up doing is that I got these off eBay, and then I went to FedEx to get my prints. I went to not Home Depot, but Office Depot to get some prints, and they wouldn't do it because of copyrights, which, you know, I think that's kind of silly. You know, these are my own personal games. I mean, I understand the legalities and stuff, and if that's even the word, but I understand all that stuff. But some of these games, like the old Game Boy Advance games, you can't, you know, they don't make them anymore. You can't find the cover art or whatever. But blah blah blah. Let's show you guys like how I'm doing this, and hopefully this will turn out okay. So let's bring in Double Dragon Advance print here, and I got this tool. I'm not even sure what you call it. It's like to trim pictures, photographs, and stuff. And I got it at Target. I think it was on clearance for like $10 and something. But basically all I do is bring this in here, and there's a scoring slide over here too. So I just push this down. Actually let's make some more room here. Just bring your paper all the way down to the bottom here. It's pretty easy. And then if I quit bumping the table, bumping the camera, sorry guys. Just bring this down. You can see all you do is take this line right here. Hopefully you guys can see that little line. There's a little line on the tool. You just take that line and you line it right up with the edge of your paper. No big deal. Readjust the camera here. Sorry guys. Need a better setup if I'm gonna make videos, but oh well. So I'm just gonna take that and make sure it lines up there, and it's actually putting a little bitty line on the paper that I can see. So I'm gonna bring that over just a little bit more, because I'm going to cut right at the edge here. And you may have to adjust it at the bottom just a little bit. You would think it being flat down here that it would be straight, but not always the case. So that looks pretty good. Let's cut her. So there's one edge, and see I kind of missed it a little bit. But that's okay. Let's bring this back. You always want to bring your blade back, because if you don't, you're going to end up bringing it back while you got your paper down, and you're going to cut it not meaning to. So here's another. That's pretty close. I want to bring it on out a little bit. So that looks pretty close. Let's go with it. And it's a pretty cool tool to have. You know, you can actually have this done, I believe, at FedEx as well. They'd probably cut it for you, I'm pretty sure. But, and again, like, I just want to go ahead and say that, like, maybe I got lucky that day when I went down there and they printed it for me. She started asking questions a little bit about that being pretty cool, that you can reprint these, and she didn't know that you could do that, and I was just like, yeah, you can do that. And I went on to tell her, like, you know, some of my game boxes had gotten damaged and stuff, you know. And I just needed to remake mine. Not that it mattered to her anyway, probably, but And this is not perfect, guys, because I'm trying to rush this to do a video, and I probably shouldn't be rushing it, but anyway, I've learned that this has not been a perfect this hasn't been perfect any time that I've done it anyway, so I'm not really worried about it. There's a couple of mine that turned out really bad, like I did a Game Boy, just a regular Game Boy of Donkey Kong, and it, you know, like I said, these edges come up kind of short anyway, but I felt like this one came up really short in the back, but it might have been because of the paper color. You know, it kind of faded out into white, and I didn't realize it. Maybe I should have left a little bit more of a margin there, but again, it's all good. You know, they're going to look good displayed on the shelf, and that's all that matters. And see, you got that white edge. I wouldn't recommend going back and sticking it back on here, because you're just going to screw it up. And I'll give you an example of that too. You know, my Godzilla one, it's pretty screwed up. It's kind of ripped up there because I tried to go back and just barely trim it again, but it wasn't sharp enough. The only thing left to do now is just take your cover and slap it in your game case, and hopefully it comes out looking pretty good. So that's it. And that's pretty cool. I mean, I've actually got the original Game Boy Advance box for Double Dragon Advance, but yeah, I think they turn out pretty nice. And I meant to show you guys this paper that I got from FedEx. Some of the prints turned out good, and some of them turned out kind of blurry, but I think that's just the scan, because if I could get a light on this, you could actually see the. Let me stick it in the sun for a second. Maybe you guys will be able to see. I mean, it's a pretty good quality. It's got a good little shimmer to it. So yeah. If you guys, I recommend doing this. You know, going out and getting you some. You can find these DS cases on eBay, and I got 20 of them, and I think they were like 50 cents a piece. It wasn't a bad deal. It was like $10 plus like $7 shipping, which I think it was like $6.50 shipping just for 10. So I went ahead and got 20 and paid a little bit extra. But that's it, guys. There's that, and only thing left to do is put it in the right way. But I'll go ahead and do that because I wanted to do a complete one on camera. Not that it matters. But if you're watching the video this far, you know, you probably want to see it complete too, huh? So yeah, I got that in there the right way now. And just pop your Game Boy Advance game in there. You're good. Now I need to track down an instruction booklet. But I think it's just a cool way to display your games. If you're like me, you've had have a bunch of games and they're all just like sitting in a drawer or something. But this way you got a pretty cool little display. And you can do, they've got artwork on that website I told you guys about for DS games and Game Boy Advance games. Like, all kinds of games. Turns out pretty good, guys. And if you're lucky enough and you're still watching, you'll get an instruction book with one of your old games. Where is it? I got a Iridium 3D off eBay, and actually did come with instructions. Actually came with the original box, but you know, you can kind of slide it in there. There's a little bitty lip there. I was kind of worried that it would crease my book over time, which it probably will. So I think I'm getting ready to go out back and Dremel like from here over out for my book. But I think that's enough and all I really wanted to cover. So yeah, guys, thanks for watching, and got any questions, feel free to shoot me a comment. And that's it. Later, guys.